Alrighty guys, today I'm going to walk you through how I did this problem here. If you're following along in the homework packet, this is from the worksheet for chapter 12 and it's question 9. This is a question regarding blood pressure and personality type. We're trying to figure out if having a type A personality has an effect on your blood pressure. So I have on the left side of the page here just some of the information that I copied down from the problem, just the information the problem provided. So we know that the population mean is 80. The sample mean is 93. They measured the blood pressure for 22 males with type A personalities. So we got our degrees of freedom from the 22 males. We figured out that that's 21 because the degrees of freedom for this type of problem is just your sample minus 1. We were provided this information. This is your standard error equals 4. And we were told to do a two-tailed test with an alpha of 0.05. So I decided to start out by doing a null hypothesis and an alternative hypothesis, which you kind of got a sneak peek here of what actually ends up being the solution. But we said that the null hypothesis is that the personality type has no effect on the blood pressure. So in symbols, we have here mean blood pressure for type A equals 80, because 80 was the population mean that was provided to us. And for the alternative, we have mean blood pressure for type A does not equal 80. So now we're going to find our critical T values. I just marked off here our critical regions, and I just used the T table that you will be provided. You'll have that with you on your exam, so you don't have to worry about memorizing anything or anything like that. So I just looked at the T chart, and I got the critical T value to be plus or minus 2.08. I know that it's positive or negative because it's a two-tailed test. So if it were a one-tailed test, it would only be positive or would only be negative. But because it's two-tailed, it's positive or negative. So I'm just marking those off here. T crit equals positive 2.08 and T crit equals negative 2.08. And then I have the population mean marked off right here. And now our next step is to find out what the T-score would be related to our raw score for the sample mean. So our sample mean was 93, that was provided to us. And we're just going to use our formula sheet, which also will be provided to you on the exam, to transform our raw score into a T-score. So here I did 93, that came straight from the problem, that is our sample mean, minus 80, which is the population mean, and I'm doing that all over 4, which that came from right here. And when I plug that into my calculator, I got 3.25. Remember that you will have to bring a calculator with you to the exam. That's not provided, and you can't use your phone. You'll have to use an actual calculator. So we got positive 3.25 as the T-score related to the raw score of 93. So when X is 93, T is 3.25. Alrighty, so I just went ahead and plotted that point right here, it's about where I would guess it to be. And now we ask ourselves, is that in the critical region? Now, 3.25 is greater than 2.08, so yes, that is in the critical region. As we can see here, it is past the point that we marked off as being the critical region. So we know that we know that the critical region is also called the rejection zone. So we know that we can reject our null hypothesis, which is why I have this over here scribbled out. So let's go down here, and here I have my solution written out. So I said that x equals 93, that's the blood pressure we were given here, is in the critical region. This is unlikely to happen if the null hypothesis is true, so we reject the null hypothesis. And we know that the type A personality does have a significant effect on blood pressure. So here we have critical region, we say we're rejecting the null hypothesis, and then we have this just in everyday language. And now I'm going to write this how it would appear in, say, a medical journal. So I have t equals 3.25. That was the t-value that we computed using our formula sheet. I have p is less than 0.05, which means it's a less than 5% chance that we would have found this result just by chance, just at random, or by sampling error. And then I just have it written down that this was a two-tailed test. So that is, again, the solution for Chapter 12, Question 9 in the homework packet. I hope this is helpful for you on the exam, and good luck.